Today we're going to look at how to use psychology to sell premium items. Question: why would someone pay £12,000 for a watch when, say, a £40 Casio tells the time more accurately? Or why would someone pay £95,000 for a Porsche 911 when a £28,000 Toyota can get them from A to B probably safer? Why would someone pay £625 for a linen shirt when they can get one for £16 from H&M? And why would someone wait 18 months for a £30,000 Hermes bag or spend $10,000 on a coaching program? Why do people choose a £3 hydration drink when, there's plenty of other hydration drinks that are priced at about £1? See, it's not logic, it's psychology. So you might be thinking, we kind of know that, right? But here's what I've come to learn from working with some of the most well-known brands aspiring to make their product or brand more premium, and from also building my own successful luxury brand in a completely different, difficult niche, taking the retail price of my product from £200 a unit up to £16,000 a unit in the space of just a few years, and producing and selling over £2 million worth of product in just a few years in a short space of time. So I applied all this brand psychology stuff that I talk about on this channel to my own brand and other brands that I've worked with. People don't buy premium because it's better, okay? They buy it because of what it says about them, what it says about the version of themselves that they aspire to be. So for example, if you're a business owner trying to raise your prices and you're building a luxury service or a luxury product business, today I'm gonna break down the exact psychological mechanics that work across industries, whether you're building a drinks brand, a luxury fashion brand, premium SaaS, a high-end service, a consultancy, a personal brand that attracts high-level clients, whatever it is you're building, this stuff is all rooted in psychology. And no matter what you're selling, you're dealing with humans at the end of the day, okay? And over the next few minutes, I'm gonna show you why most personal brands and founders accidentally destroy their premium positioning without even realizing it. But first, understand this. Premium is not price. Premium is perception engineered through psychology. And the good news for you is, on this channel, I demystify all of this stuff that has been so heavily gatekept over years and break it down into easy to understand practical stuff you can go away and implement. And if you stay to the end, I'll show you the single biggest mistake that makes brands look expensive but not premium, and how to avoid it. Number one, premium is about desire, not need. See, if your brand is built on solving problems, you're building a commodity, and that's something that's easily comparable, easily replaceable, bought primarily on price and chosen based on function, not identity. And if you're building a luxury or premium brand, you definitely do not want this. Premium brands don't compete on problem solving, they compete on perception. See, needs are rational, but premium lives in identity. And behavioral science calls these identity markers. These are signals that communicate who we are and who we're becoming and who we're trying to portray ourselves as. As an example, a Birkin bag, it isn't just leather, it's status. It says that I can feel comfortable spending someone's yearly salary on a bag I'll use probably twice a year. A Lambo, it isn't just transport, it's proof. It's proof that you fucking made it. A premium coaching program isn't just education, it's proximity to like-minded people who are more successful than you are. It's elevation, it's identity reinforcement. You feel like you are that person you're trying to become by purchasing that high ticket program, and it justifies the person you're becoming, or at least the person you're hoping to become. See, the market is full of value driven brands, and value is what people compare. Premium is what people justify. And if you're building a premium brand, physical products, SaaS, consulting, content, you must stop selling on function. You must sell transformation of identity. Let's bring this back to you, because your brand must answer a few key questions. What does owning this make my customer feel? What identity does this signal to others? And what version of themselves are they stepping into through access to or using my product? And if you want practical ways to implement this properly, I've created a downloadable workbook with 17 practical ways you can build premium psychology into your brand. I look at 17 different behavioral biases that you can use, and I give you loads of examples of how premium and luxury brands use this stuff day in, day out. And once you see it being used, you can't unsee it again. See, this resource is built on 20 years of building brands, working with major agencies in London, contributing to Google's digital marketing training program where we advised and taught some of the biggest brands and founders, and from starting my own premium brand from a kitchen table and scaling it to sell millions of pounds in high-end products and an industry that's almost impossible to break into and penetrate. So this isn't just theory, this is applied psychology for brand builders. And if you apply it in the right way, using the next few steps, you'll be able to leverage psychology to build a premium brand. And if you like this stuff and want to go deeper, check the link below. Number 2, price is a signal, not a barrier. See, luxury brands operate differently. There's a behavioral bias called the price quality heuristic. When we're uncertain, we assume higher price equals quality. And this is why lowering your price often lowers your perceived authority. See, when I was building my luxury brand, I never reduced the price. I would always signal and prove that each collection or series or drop was sold out, not out of stock, because that's totally different. That shows incompetency. It was sold out, social proof, high demand, and therefore it justified the raise in price next time I released a new batch of product. So the pricing starting from £200 went up and up and up and up and up and up and up like that, right up to £16,000 a unit. And by the way I structured it, there's a wait list for my product. I never lowered the price. You never ever lower the price. You wait till you sell out and then you raise the price. So you can play with supply and demand. Okay, it's another video for another time. We'll look into supply and demand and how brands use that and how I managed to leverage that. But you want to understand the basics of supply and demand. Once something sells out and there's a high demand for it, you can up the price. And this is why Birkin bags or, rare luxury items have a secondary market where you can buy it from the shop and then 5 years later you can sell it on another market and it may have even appreciated in price. And lowering your price often lowers your perceived authority. So as a luxury premium brand, you're almost an authority in the space. And lowering your price lowers your authority. So never ever do that. And every time you run a discount, you train your audience to question what your real price is. So they're like, okay, well, this was selling for £1,000 or $1,000 2 months ago and now selling for £450 or $450. So was £1,000 really the real price, or have they just marked that up and no one's buying it? That's what subconsciously your potential buyer is looking at and thinking. And that's why some of the best premium brands and luxury brands, they never run discounts. And once your price becomes negotiable in someone's mind, your authority becomes negotiable too. So premium brands, they don't bribe demand, they actually engineer it very carefully. Rounded pricing, confident pricing tiers, clear framing that justifies the high price point. We look into price psychology a bit in the workbook below as well. So if you want to dig deeper into that, the workbook's below. So positioning their product, they don't ever say, oh, it's cheaper. They don't sell on price. They sell on investment. They sell on the basis that this is going to be worth more in the long run. It appreciates. They don't say cost. They say things like allocation. See, brands who know what they're doing, they use it as a positioning device, and they position themselves for a certain someone, and even more so for a person that it's not for. See, if you have to spend a year's worth of your salary on a Chanel bag, that bag is not for you. It's not designed for you. There's also a common theme, what I see a lot is luxury brands aren't made for the ultra wealthy. See, the ultra wealthy people, they don't want to wear loads of branded stuff. Look at Mark Zuckerberg, for example. He wears like a £100 t-shirt that's just super plain, super simple. So there's an argument that luxury brands are actually built and made and tailored to the middle classes because they can aspire to own that. See, once you have enough money than sense, you don't really care about luxury brands anymore. But anyway, that's a totally separate topic for a different day. But look, your brand, it must answer a few key things. Does my pricing signal confidence or insecurity? Does the structure of my offer or product signal premium before my price has to justify it? And does my language that I use around this product and my brand frame this as cost? Okay, if you're using cost language, no. Or does it frame it as an investment? Something that you're gonna be happy that you bought in 3, 4, 5 years time. See, notice how every luxury or premium brand or purchase with high ticket is referred to an investment, which encourages you to mentally file the eye-wateringly high-priced coaching program or whatever it is you bought, or your pair of shoes, in the same regard as investing in property or stocks. See, they're trying to elevate the brand to that level. inside your mind. So I also break down the specific pricing psychology models that elevate perception before you even change the number in the workbook link below. Because premium pricing is engineered. It's not done through guesswork or like fiddling around in the dark, okay? Number 3, scarcity increases desire. See, we want what is less available, but let me be clear, a countdown timer is not scarcity. If you have one of those on your website, I'd remove that ASAP. That screams sale, sale, buy now, buy now, buy now. Luxury brands don't do that. They take their time. So if your brand needs urgency to sell, it hasn't built enough desire. Remember what I said before? I've got a wait list of people that are waiting for my product. So when I release something, more or less it's going to sell out. Hermes doesn't beg for buyers. Instead, they let you know of the long production times, which signals craftsmanship, attention to detail, scarcity. Rolex, they don't chase customers. In fact, you can't even walk into a Rolex shop and buy a watch. They deliberately create something called friction, and I show you ways to implement that in the workbook also. But look, Soho House, private members clubs, they don't advertise mass access. You have to go through a long ass application process and be invited to pay if you're lucky enough, only for you to realize that it's full of wannabe influencers and no desk space for you to actually do any work. So look, they control it. Scarcity works because it signals demand and status. But premium pricing, it's not manipulative, it's actually structural. It's built into every mechanic of the brand and every product that they sell, and every marketing and branding, execution, advertisement, whatever they do, it's built into everything. So what does that look like? Well, it looks like limited capacity, curated intake of special founders just like you, controlled distribution of products, selective access. And if you're always available, you're rarely premium. So what I want you to do is answer these couple of questions about your brand, okay? What access am I intentionally limiting? Does my availability of my product feel curated or desperate? Am I creating desire through control or through noise? You don't want to be noisy. You want to have controlled communications. So with my own brand, I selectively worked with clients on creative projects, and due to the nature of the product, lead times were long and production took a while. But this played to my advantage because this all signaled craftsmanship, effort, premium and scarcity. And this all naturally justified the high price tag I was able to build, and also the wait list for my product, which further signaled scarcity. And this is also known as the effort heuristic, which I'll mention next. And later, I'm going to show you how scarcity combined with identity creates almost unfair leverage that a lot of other people don't make the most of. Okay, number 4, effort signals quality. Another powerful bias, which is called the effort heuristic. We assume things that require visible effort are more valuable. That's why James Dyson, you know, the Hoover guy, talks about thousands of prototypes, 5,127 to be exact. It's plastered everywhere you interact with the brand. From the opening line of James Dyson's autobiography to the huge billboard ads that they put out. It's a continual reinforcement. They always reinforce this message of effort. So much so that you think, fucking hell, if this guy tried 5,127 times, this thing must be better than the competitors and my humble Henry Hoover, and it must be worth the price tag. Another brand, Guinness. See, they made a whole ritual around the wait time it takes to pour a pint of Guinness. They had that famous tagline, which is 119.5 second pour. You know, it was clever at identifying the exact precise time that it took to pour a perfect pint of Guinness. So if you're a beer drinker in a pub or a bar and you go up to the bar and everyone else is buying beers, you know, they get served instantly. You're the guy there, or female, waiting for them to pour the perfect pint. Now, it was a bit of a product flaw, but they managed to spin it and turn it around to show another psychological bias, which is called the illusion of effort. Luxury fashion brands emphasize stuff like hand stitching. To say something is made carefully and meticulously by someone's hands makes it stand out from the automated machine products that fashion produces. See, hustle doesn't signal premium. Refinement does. Less is more. Posting every day is not premium. And for those who are building a luxury or premium personal brand, posting every day is not necessarily premium positioning. Intentional posting is, and intentional positioning is. Premium brands don't show chaos, they show precision. And your brand must answer a few key questions in relation to this point and this heuristic. Where is my visible craftsmanship? Does my process look considered or improvised? Can customers see depth before they buy? And how are you building the effort illusion into everything you do and every piece of content you put out? Because effort increases perceived authority, perceived value. So if you want people to pay a lot for your stuff, you've got to show the effort that went into it. Number 5, difference creates memory. So this is called the von Restorff effect. And it tells us basically that what we remember are the things that stand out. So this is a behavioral science study that was in a controlled environment. I'm going to really bring it down to its basics, but they gave people a series of words. So it was like dog, cat, hippo, duck, square, lion, tiger. And because the square was the anomaly in the words, it was the unique word in the series, and it was totally unrelated to the other words, people remembered it more. So this concept has been tried and tested across loads of different studies as well. But that's how we remember things as humans, okay? We remember what stands out. So let's look at a couple of brands. Aesop, for example, in a category of hand wash where all the brands pretty much look the same, they approached it with a pharmacy aesthetic, okay? So it looks like it belongs in a pharmacy or a high-end private wellness clinic. They made it smell really lovely, really expensive, aligned it with really luxury experiences and other brands and other brand associations. And suddenly you have this really elevated, expensive hand wash in a category that has been the same for years. Aesop stands out. In a world of luxury brands where everyone's shouting and screaming, Celine as a luxury brand, they show a lot of restraint. So does Tom Ford, very simplistic. The design is always restrained compared to someone like Gucci, for example. Bold, loud logos. Cadence, another one of my favorite brands at the moment in the hydration space. Basically salt water, nothing special, in a can, but they've managed to become the premium offering in their category. Minimal packaging, an elevated status, aligning themselves with other luxury experiences and brands. And their simplistic packaging, for example, in a cluttered retail environment on a shelf that sticks out, is really minimal, really considered. So premium brands, instead of adding more and more and more, they isolate, they refine. They don't scream. Most of them, all bar a couple like Gucci, they really refine it and isolate it, and they create contrasts. So their job is to look different and create a contrast between them and the other brands in that category. So I want you to remember that restraint is more powerful than noise when it comes to luxury branding and premium branding. See, most founders copy what's already working, and premium brands intentionally break category norms. So as an actionable takeaway, think about your brand and answer this. What is my defining contrast? How am I creating contrast? Where am I strategically different? And is my distinctiveness deliberate or accidental? And how can I intentionally create contrast between my brand and what's already out there? And the key is not adding more. Often it's about refinement and taking away more. See, this section alone in the workbook has multiple exercises that help you identify your psychological contrast advantage. All right, so have a look at that. I dig into that a lot deeper. Number 6, identity alignment is everything. This is the most powerful mechanic of all. And if you're afraid to repel people, you will never build a premium brand. So it was one of the reasons that my brand did so well, is because I was willing to turn off 99% of the people who would potentially buy my product, so that that 1% truly knew that this was for them, and they would resonate with it so much that they'd really get behind it. See, mass appeal is the enemy of any luxury or premium brand. Look at Represent, for example, one of the most successful clothing brands of our time, but they had a bit of a problem. They sold so many of one SKU, one type of product, which is the Represent Owners Club t-shirts and hoodies. It was a product line that they had at the time, but they oversold so many that they had so much brand exposure, which meant everywhere you went, you had all sorts of different people wearing that Owners Club line hoodie or t-shirt. Now, a lot of people say, wow, that's a good thing, because they're selling out and everyone's wearing the stuff. But what that is overexposure. So they had a real problem that they had to axe a lot of that product line and get rid of a lot of it all and stop selling it. It's become overexposed. And as a premium or luxury brand, you never want to be overexposed. And that also happened with Burberry back in the day. See, Burberry was the epitome of a luxury brand, but then you had loads of what we call in the UK chavs wearing it, and all of a sudden there was mass overexposure. Every crackhead in your area was wearing a Burberry cap. Damaged the brand massively. Okay, but let me get back to it. See, premium brands are comfortable being disliked by the wrong people. They want to align with the right identity, and they're willing to turn off 90% of the other people that aren't right for the identity they're trying to target. Patagonia, for example, it aligns with environmental identity. So if you care about the environment, you're going to look into Patagonia. That Tesla might be a brand that aligns with you. Tesla, it aligns with innovation identity. So you see a lot of tech people, they drive Teslas because they're constantly thinking about innovation. They like the tech aspect of the car. That brand perfectly aligns with them. Chanel, it aligns with timeless status. So if you're someone who considers yourself really classy, really timeless, okay, really fashionable, you align yourself with Chanel. They filter out the people that they are not for and they go deep on the people that they are for, because exclusion increases perceived value. So answer this when it comes to your brand. Not how many people can I make this for, but who is this not for? What tribe am I building? What belief system does my brand reinforce? See, this isn't about niching down. This is about creating something for a specific identity. When identity and scarcity combine, price in the customer's mind becomes secondary. When you trigger their identity and you trigger scarcity, they're no longer worried about the price. They're worried about, is this brand for me? And am I going to be able to get it, or is it going to be sold out? The biggest mistake founders make is most founders are playing dress up. They copy luxury vibes or luxury aesthetics without understanding luxury mechanics. They think it's all about vibes and how polished and luxury something looks. And they raise their prices without actually engineering that luxury and premium perception. And when you do that, it creates a complete disconnect. People can't quite figure out why they should pay the high price for the thing that you're selling. So I see a lot of e-com brands, you know, that charging high prices for essentially something that you can find on Amazon, a similar product for half the price. And they think because they've got a cool logo and a really nice designed website that they can charge up premium. But they don't have things like brand heritage. You know, they don't have brand associations with high ticket or high premium stuff. They haven't laid the foundations and done the groundwork. I talk about this stuff more on the channel. So if you're enjoying it, if you find it useful, please subscribe. Hate begging for subscriptions, but you know how it is. Essentially though, from a psychology standpoint, our brains are fine-tuned to feel it deep within us in milliseconds. Customers can feel the difference without even needing to explain why or know how. Expensive without psychology feels just inflated and unjustified. Premium without psychology collapses under scrutiny. So when they start scrutinizing it and looking into it, they're like, no, that's not for me. Something doesn't feel right. It triggers their fight or flight nervous system. When you intentionally engineer things like identity, price signaling, scarcity, effort visibility, strategic contrast, language framing, all of the stuff that I just mentioned in this last 15-20 minutes, you can structure a luxury and premium expectation around your products and service. If you want to apply this properly, download the workbook. It contains loads of examples, 70 different behavioral biases that you can leverage. You know, this is decades worth of experience. And plus I study brand psychology and human psychology and behavioral science for fun because I'm a nerd. All right. This is not aesthetic advice. This is not luxury vibes. This is behavioral architecture, because premium brands are not discovered. They don't happen by accident. They're designed. They're carefully engineered. And once you understand the mechanics, you can stop competing on price and you can start engineering real desire. Because at the end of the day, we all want people to want what we are selling and the brand that we love so much. All right. Till next time. Peace.